Welcome to the hidden wealth coins. Most people walk past history every day without noticing it. In their pockets, jars, and drawers hide coins so small they seem worthless, yet powerful enough to rewrite a life overnight. These wheat pennies are not just old cents, they are silent survivors of forgotten eras. If you own one in the right condition, you could be holding a fortune capable of changing everything forever without ever spending a dollar. First up, the 1935 wheat penny is one of those coins that almost everyone believes they already understand, yet very few truly do. At first glance, it looks simple, small, and ordinary, a single cent that once passed through countless hands during one of the most dramatic periods in American history. But hidden inside this copper coin is a story of survival, transition, and rare opportunity. While millions were minted, only a microscopic number survived in extraordinary condition, and those few have become symbols of unimaginable wealth. This is not just a coin, it is a silent witness to a world rebuilding itself, and for the right collector, it represents the difference between ordinary life and overnight fortune. To understand why the 1935 wheat penny carries such powerful value potential, you must travel back to a time when America was standing at the edge of recovery. The Great Depression had scarred the nation deeply, yet hope was beginning to reappear. Coins from this era were not made to be saved, they were made to be spent. Every 1935 penny was expected to circulate, to wear down, to lose its sharp details, and to disappear into time. That expectation is exactly what makes surviving high-grade examples so rare today. Most were damaged, cleaned, scratched, or melted. Only a handful escaped untouched, preserved by chance rather than intention. What truly separates an ordinary 1935 wheat penny from a life-changing one is condition, originality, and history frozen in metal. A penny that still holds its original surface, natural color, and razor-sharp details becomes something completely different from pocket change. In elite collector circles, such a coin is not judged as 1 cent but as a historical artifact. The better the preservation, the more it transforms into a trophy. In the rarest cases, collectors are not paying for copper at all. They are paying for time, survival, and perfection that should not exist. There is also a psychological force behind coins like the 1935 wheat penny that most people never consider. Collectors are driven by scarcity combined with narrative. This penny was born in an era of hardship, survived decades of circulation, and in rare cases emerged untouched. That story creates emotional demand. When two wealthy collectors want the same nearly perfect example, logic disappears and competition takes over. Prices rise not because of metal or face value, but because of human desire to own something that almost no one else can ever possess. Some 1935 wheat pennies carry subtle differences that elevate them into a different universe of value. Slight variations in strike quality, planchet texture, and surface preservation can separate a common example from a legendary one. These differences are invisible to untrained eyes, which is why many valuable coins have been overlooked, stored away, or even spent. The idea that a life-changing coin could still exist unnoticed is what keeps collectors searching relentlessly. That possibility alone fuels massive demand and staggering prices when the right coin finally appears. Another powerful factor is originality. Coins that have never been cleaned, polished, or altered retain their natural surface energy. This originality cannot be recreated once lost. Many people unknowingly destroy value by trying to make a coin look shiny. True collectors value untouched surfaces more than brightness. A naturally aged 1935 wheat penny with perfect structure can be worth exponentially more than a cleaned one that looks newer. This single mistake has erased fortunes without people even realizing it. The reason some 1935 wheat pennies reach astronomical figures is not hype alone. It is the collision of rarity, condition, and timing. When one of these exceptional coins enters the market, it often does so after decades of silence. Wealthy collectors who have been waiting their entire lives suddenly compete. Auctions become emotional battlefields where numbers climb beyond expectations. At that moment, the penny stops being a coin and becomes a symbol of victory, legacy, and status. There is also the generational aspect of value. Coins like the 1935 wheat penny are not only collected for profit but for inheritance. Families pass them down as silent assets, knowing their worth grows with time. As fewer pristine examples remain and demand continues rising, the price ceiling keeps breaking. What seems unbelievable today may look conservative tomorrow. That is how overnight fortunes are born, not from magic, but from patience and preservation. Many people mistakenly believe that only rare dates matter, but history proves otherwise. A common date in extraordinary condition can outperform a rare date in poor condition. This is why the 1935 wheat penny remains dangerous in the best way possible. It hides in plain sight. Thousands of people may own one, but almost no one owns the right one. That thin line between ordinary and extraordinary is where fortunes are made. The copper itself carries a story. This penny was struck in an era when metal quality, minting pressure, and human craftsmanship combined in ways modern machines no longer replicate. The warmth of the copper tone, the depth of the wheat stalks, and the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait all speak to a different time. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying authenticity from a vanished world. What makes this coin truly powerful is the element of chance. Many legendary coins were discovered by accident, pulled from old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. The idea that history can reward awareness keeps people searching endlessly. The 1935 wheat penny reminds us that value is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers, waiting for the right eyes to listen. If you ever hold a 1935 wheat penny, you are not holding 1 cent. You are holding a question. A question about condition, survival, and hidden worth. You are holding a piece of American resilience cast in copper. For most people, it will remain ordinary. For a rare few, it becomes transformational. That difference is not luck alone, it is knowledge. In the end, the 1935 wheat penny teaches a brutal lesson. The smallest objects can carry the largest futures. Those who dismiss it may spend it. Those who understand it may protect it. And those who uncover a perfect example may find themselves standing on the edge of wealth that arrives not slowly, but all at once. Because history does not announce itself loudly. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, disguised as a penny. Second up, the 1955 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is one of the most misunderstood pieces of metal ever created in American history. To an untrained eye, it looks like an ordinary 1-cent coin, something that could easily be ignored, spent, or forgotten. But beneath its humble appearance lies a story so powerful that it has changed lives, created legends, and rewritten what people believe is possible with pocket change. This penny belongs to a moment in time when chance, human error, and history collided, creating a coin that would one day be whispered about in collector circles with awe and disbelief. America in 1955 was a nation moving forward at full speed. The scars of war were fading, industries were booming, and optimism filled the air. Coins during this era were never meant to be treasured. They were tools of daily life, passed from hand to hand without a second thought. That is what makes the 1955 wheat penny so dangerous in today's world. Most of them were worn down, damaged, or lost forever. Yet a tiny number escaped that fate, preserved either by accident or instinct, waiting decades to reveal their unimaginable worth. What elevates the 1955 wheat penny into legendary status is the idea that imperfection can sometimes become perfection. In a system designed for precision, something unusual happened. That unusual moment created a coin that feels different even before you understand why. Collectors describe the experience of seeing the right 1955 penny as unforgettable. It grabs attention instantly, not because it shines, but because it tells a story without speaking. This is the kind of coin that stops conversations and starts bidding wars. Value, in the world of rare coins, is not created by age alone. It is born from rarity, demand, and emotion. The most valuable 1955 wheat pennies are not simply old, they are survivors of circumstances that should have erased them. Their surfaces, details, and originality place them in a category where price no longer follows logic. At that level, collectors are not asking how much it costs. They are asking whether they can afford to miss it. One of the most powerful truths about the 1955 wheat penny is that it still hides among ordinary coins. Many people unknowingly own examples that could change their entire future, simply because they do not understand what they are holding. History shows that some of the most valuable coins were discovered not in vaults, but in jars, drawers, and forgotten collections. This possibility keeps hope alive and drives collectors to search endlessly, knowing that the next discovery could rewrite their destiny overnight. Condition is the silent king when it comes to value. A 1955 wheat penny that has avoided cleaning, polishing, or damage holds something that money alone cannot buy: authenticity. Time leaves fingerprints on everything, and when those fingerprints remain natural and untouched, collectors pay extraordinary prices. A single careless decision can destroy value forever, while patience can multiply it beyond imagination. The emotional pull of this coin cannot be overstated. The 1955 wheat penny represents a moment where the system failed just enough to create magic. Humans are drawn to rarity born from mistakes because it reminds us that perfection is not always planned. This psychological attraction fuels competition among elite collectors, turning auctions into battlegrounds where numbers climb higher with every heartbeat. What truly separates legendary coins from ordinary ones is timing. As years pass, fewer pristine examples remain. Collections are locked away, estates are sealed, and supply tightens. Demand, however, continues to grow as new generations of collectors enter the market. This imbalance is where explosive value is born. A coin once dismissed as spare change suddenly becomes a financial weapon capable of transforming lives. The copper itself feels alive in the right example. Its color tells a story of decades untouched by human interference. The design, though familiar, feels sharper, deeper, more intentional. Holding such a coin feels less like holding money and more like holding a moment frozen in history. That emotional experience is something collectors are willing to pay fortunes for. There is also a powerful lesson hidden inside the story of the 1955 wheat penny. It teaches that wealth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it waits quietly, disguised as something small and overlooked. Those who rush past it lose everything it could have offered. Those who pause, learn, and protect it open doors that once seemed impossible. Stories circulate in the collector world about people who nearly gave away these coins, only to discover their true value just in time. These stories are not myths, they are warnings. The line between loss and fortune can be as thin as one decision. Spend it, clean it, ignore it, and the opportunity vanishes forever. The reason this coin feels almost mythical today is because it represents control over chance. You cannot create another one from that moment in history. You can only find what already exists. That finality is what drives prices into territory that feels unreal. When something cannot be replaced, it becomes priceless to the right person. If you ever encounter a 1955 wheat penny, understand this: you are not holding copper, and you are not holding 1 cent. You are holding a question about your future. A question about patience, knowledge, and restraint. Many people will never experience that moment. A few will, and their lives will never be the same. In the end, the 1955 wheat penny stands as proof that the smallest objects can carry the greatest power. It reminds us that history rewards awareness, not speed. And for those rare individuals who recognize its true worth, this humble coin does not just change fortunes, it changes destinies overnight. Third up, the 1948 wheat penny is one of those coins that quietly sits at the edge of history, rarely questioned, rarely respected, yet capable of carrying unimaginable power. To most people, it is nothing more than an old copper cent, a leftover from a past generation. But to those who truly understand the language of coins, the 1948 wheat penny represents something far deeper. It is a survivor from a turning point in American life, a moment when the world was reshaping itself, and that moment is permanently sealed inside this small piece of metal. The year 1948 existed in a fragile space between destruction and hope. The world had just emerged from chaos, and America was rebuilding its identity. Coins struck during this time were not meant to be admired or saved. They were meant to move fast, fuel trade, and disappear into circulation. That reality is exactly why the 1948 wheat penny becomes so powerful today. Almost every example was worn down by daily use, scarred by time, or lost forever. Only a microscopic number escaped untouched, and those survivors are the ones capable of commanding life-changing value. What makes the 1948 wheat penny so dangerous is how ordinary it appears. There is no obvious warning sign that tells you this coin could be worth more than houses, businesses, or entire futures. That invisibility is its greatest weapon. It hides among common sense, passed over by people who never imagined that history sometimes disguises wealth in the smallest forms. This is why stories continue to emerge of people discovering coins that completely rewrite their understanding of money. In the world of elite collecting, value is born where expectation fails. The 1948 wheat penny was expected to vanish through use. When a coin defies that expectation and survives in extraordinary condition, it becomes something rare beyond numbers. Collectors do not just measure how many were made, they measure how many should not exist anymore. When a 1948 penny appears with sharp detail, untouched surfaces, and natural aging, it creates shockwaves that travel far beyond the coin itself. Condition is not just a detail, it is destiny. A single fingerprint, a careless cleaning, or years of friction can erase potential worth forever. But when a 1948 wheat penny remains original, its surface tells a pure story of time without interference. That originality cannot be recreated, repaired, or forged. It exists once, and once it is lost, it is gone forever. This is why collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for the right example while ignoring thousands of others. The emotional energy surrounding this coin is intense. Wealthy collectors do not chase it because they need another penny. They chase it because it represents victory over time. Owning a flawless survivor from 1948 means owning something that millions of people unknowingly destroyed. That psychological dominance drives competition to levels where logic collapses and emotion takes control. At that stage, price becomes secondary to possession. Another reason the 1948 wheat penny holds explosive potential is its timing in history. It belongs to the final stretch of an era that would soon disappear forever. The wheat design itself represents a closing chapter, and collectors are drawn to endings because they cannot be repeated. When history shuts a door, whatever remains behind it instantly becomes more powerful. The 1948 penny stands close enough to that ending to carry immense symbolic weight. There is also the mystery factor. Many valuable 1948 wheat pennies have not been discovered yet. They remain hidden in inherited collections, forgotten boxes, and overlooked jars. This lingering uncertainty fuels obsession. Collectors know that the next discovery could appear anywhere, at any time, and that knowledge keeps the market alive, restless, and aggressive. Hope is a powerful currency, and this coin trades heavily in it. The copper of a well-preserved 1948 wheat penny feels different. Its tone is deeper, richer, and more alive than modern coins. The design speaks with clarity, the wheat stalks feel intentional, and Lincoln's portrait carries a quiet authority. Holding such a coin does not feel like holding money. It feels like holding a moment that escaped destruction by pure chance. What many people fail to realize is that wealth often comes disguised as patience. The 1948 wheat penny rewards those who resist impulse. Spending it, cleaning it, or dismissing it can erase futures. Protecting it, understanding it, and waiting can multiply its worth beyond imagination. This coin teaches that the smallest decision can separate regret from legacy. There are quiet stories in the collecting world of people who almost gave these coins away, unaware of what they had. Those moments live forever as lessons. The difference between poverty and prosperity can sometimes be measured in seconds of attention. The 1948 wheat penny stands as a reminder that knowledge is not optional when history is involved. The reason this coin feels almost mythical today is because it cannot be recreated. No machine, no mint, and no technology can reproduce a coin born in that exact year, under those exact conditions, carrying those exact marks of time. Scarcity like that is permanent. When something becomes permanently scarce, its value has no ceiling. If you ever find yourself holding a 1948 wheat penny, pause. Do not see it as 1 cent. See it as a question. A question about what you understand, what you ignore, and what you protect. That moment of awareness is where fortunes begin. In the end, the 1948 wheat penny proves one brutal truth. History does not reward everyone equally. It rewards those who pay attention. And for the rare individual who recognizes the true power hidden inside this humble coin, it does not slowly change their life. It has the power to change everything overnight. Fourth up. The 1953 wheat penny is one of those coins that almost begs to be underestimated. It looks familiar, ordinary, and harmless, like something that could never hold real power. Yet history has a habit of hiding its greatest surprises in the smallest forms, and this penny is a perfect example. What many people see as pocket change is, in rare circumstances, a sleeping giant. When preserved under the right conditions, the 1953 wheat penny becomes more than money. It becomes a symbol of overlooked opportunity and silent wealth. The early 1950s were a time of movement, growth, and quiet confidence in the United States. Life was speeding up, and coins were expected to move just as fast. No one was thinking about preservation, rarity, or future value. Pennies were used, abused, dropped, and forgotten. This careless environment is exactly what makes the surviving high-quality 1953 wheat pennies so extraordinary today. They were never meant to survive untouched, and yet a few somehow did. What gives the 1953 wheat penny its dangerous potential is how invisible its value is to the untrained eye. There is no warning label, no shine that screams importance. It blends perfectly with other scents, making it easy to overlook and easy to lose. That invisibility has caused countless valuable examples to vanish forever. But it has also allowed some to remain hidden, waiting quietly for the right moment and the right person to recognize their true worth. In the world of serious collectors, rarity is not just about how many coins were made. It is about how many should still exist in exceptional condition. Most 1953 wheat pennies were worn down through years of use, their details softened by time. When one appears with sharp features, original surface texture, and untouched character, it feels almost unnatural. That feeling is exactly what drives collectors into intense competition. Condition is where ordinary copper transforms into extraordinary wealth. A well-preserved 1953 wheat penny carries something fragile and priceless: originality. Once a coin is cleaned or altered, its story is damaged forever. But when time has been kind, when surfaces remain natural and honest, the coin becomes a time capsule. Collectors pay massive premiums not for perfection alone, but for authenticity that can never be recreated. There is a deep emotional pull connected to this penny. It represents a moment when the world believed in steady progress, not speculation. Owning a flawless survivor from that era feels like owning proof that some things can outlast chaos, change, and neglect. This emotional connection pushes collectors beyond rational limits. At the highest level, the price is no longer about cents or dollars. It becomes about possession, pride, and legacy. Another reason the 1953 wheat penny holds explosive value potential is timing. It belongs to the later years of the wheat design, an era that would soon close forever. Collectors are naturally drawn to closing chapters because they cannot be repeated. Once something ends, whatever remains becomes more powerful. The 1953 penny sits close enough to that ending to carry a unique historical gravity. Mystery also fuels its appeal. Many valuable 1953 wheat pennies are still undiscovered, resting in forgotten collections, inherited boxes, or unnoticed containers. That uncertainty keeps hope alive. Collectors know that life-changing finds do not always come from auctions. Sometimes they come from attention and patience. The idea that fortune could already exist nearby is one of the strongest forces in the collectible world. The copper of a high-grade 1953 wheat penny feels different in the hand. Its color has depth, warmth, and life. The wheat stalk stands strong, and Lincoln's portrait carries clarity and quiet authority. Holding such a coin does not feel like holding money. It feels like holding evidence that time can be selective, sparing a few objects while erasing millions of others. What this coin teaches more than anything is restraint. Many people destroy value without realizing it, driven by curiosity or impatience. The 1953 wheat penny rewards those who do nothing but protect. Sometimes the smartest move is not action, but respect. This penny shows that wealth can grow simply by being left alone. Stories circulate quietly among collectors about people who nearly spent or gave away these coins, unaware of what they had. Those stories are not entertainment, they are warnings. Knowledge is the thin line between loss and transformation. One moment of awareness can mean the difference between regret and generational wealth. The reason some 1953 wheat pennies reach values that feel unreal is because they exist at the intersection of rarity and desire. When something cannot be replaced, demand becomes aggressive. Once collectors realize that only a few examples remain in elite condition, competition intensifies, and prices climb into territory that changes lives. This coin cannot be recreated. No technology, no mint, and no effort can produce another genuine 1953 wheat penny born under those exact circumstances. Scarcity like that is permanent. When permanence meets demand, value has no limit. If you ever come across a 1953 wheat penny, pause before you act. Do not see it as a cent. See it as a question about what you know and what you protect. That pause alone has the power to change everything. In the end, the 1953 wheat penny proves a quiet truth. Fortune does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it waits, disguised as something small and ignored. And for the rare person who recognizes its power, this humble coin does not slowly improve life. It has the power to change a destiny overnight. Fifth up. The 1944 wheat penny is one of the most deceptive coins ever struck in American history. At first glance, it feels harmless, ordinary, and familiar, like something that could never carry serious power. Yet this single cent was born in one of the most intense periods the world has ever known, and that tension is permanently sealed inside its copper surface. To most people, it is just another old penny. To those who understand history and rarity, it is a sleeping force capable of changing lives overnight. The year 1944 existed in the shadow of global conflict. Resources were strained, priorities were different, and survival mattered more than perfection. Coins produced during this era were never meant to be admired or preserved. They were tools, pushed into circulation immediately, worn down by constant use. This reality is what makes the 1944 wheat penny so powerful today. Almost all of them were damaged, lost, or altered by time. The few that survived in extraordinary condition did so against all odds. What makes the 1944 wheat penny especially dangerous is how easily it hides. It does not scream rarity. It does not announce value. It blends perfectly with ordinary cents, making it one of the easiest valuable coins to overlook. That invisibility has erased fortunes without anyone realizing it. Yet it has also allowed some examples to remain hidden for decades, waiting quietly for someone who knows how to look beyond face value. In the world of serious collectors, rarity is not just about numbers. It is about survival. Millions of coins can be made, but only a handful can escape time untouched. When a 1944 wheat penny appears with sharp design, natural surfaces, and untouched character, it creates shock. Collectors immediately recognize that they are looking at something that should not exist anymore. That realization alone can drive values into unreal territory. Condition is where destiny is decided. A worn 1944 penny tells a story of use. A preserved one tells a story of resistance. When a coin avoids cleaning, polishing, or damage, it keeps its soul intact. That soul is what collectors are truly buying. Once originality is lost, value collapses. But when it remains, the coin becomes a time capsule, frozen in the exact moment it left the mint decades ago. There is also a deep emotional connection tied to this coin. The 1944 wheat penny represents endurance. It was created during a time when the future was uncertain, yet it survived long enough to become a symbol of opportunity. Owning a flawless survivor from this year feels like owning proof that even in the hardest times, something valuable can emerge quietly and wait for the right moment. The psychological pull of the 1944 wheat penny cannot be ignored. Collectors are not chasing copper, they are chasing victory over time. To own what millions unknowingly destroyed creates a sense of dominance and achievement. This emotional pressure turns auctions into battlegrounds where logic fades and desire takes control. At that level, price is no longer calculated, it is felt. Another layer of power comes from timing. The wheat penny era was approaching its final chapter, and collectors are always drawn to endings. Endings cannot be repeated, and that makes what survives infinitely more valuable. The 1944 penny sits close enough to that closing chapter to carry immense historical weight without being obvious to casual observers. Mystery fuels obsession, and the 1944 wheat penny is surrounded by it. Many valuable examples remain undiscovered, locked away in forgotten collections, inherited boxes, and unnoticed containers. That uncertainty keeps hope alive. Collectors know that life-changing discoveries do not always come from markets. Sometimes they come from awareness and patience. The copper of a high-grade 1944 wheat penny feels alive. Its color carries warmth and depth that modern coins lack. The wheat stalks stand proud, and Lincoln's portrait feels sharp and intentional. Holding such a coin does not feel like holding money. It feels like holding a moment that escaped destruction by chance alone. This coin teaches a brutal lesson about restraint. Many people destroy value simply by acting too quickly. Cleaning, spending, or dismissing the coin can erase futures. The 1944 wheat penny rewards those who understand that sometimes the smartest decision is to do nothing at all. Protection is power. Quiet stories circulate among collectors about people who almost gave these coins away, unaware of their significance. Those stories are warnings, not entertainment. Knowledge is the thin line between regret and transformation. One moment of understanding can separate a normal life from an extraordinary one. The reason some 1944 wheat pennies reach values that feel impossible is simple. They cannot be replaced. No machine, no mint, and no technology can recreate a genuine coin born in that exact year under those exact circumstances. Permanent scarcity creates permanent demand, and permanent demand has no ceiling. If you ever find yourself holding a 1944 wheat penny, pause. Do not see it as 1 cent. See it as a question about what you recognize and what you ignore. That pause alone has the power to change everything. In the end, the 1944 wheat penny proves a quiet truth that history repeats again and again. Wealth does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it waits silently, disguised as something small and ordinary. And for the rare individual who recognizes its power, this humble coin does not slowly improve life. It has the power to change a fortune overnight.